Are you a woman standing at a crossroads, eager for change? It's time to connect with your authentic and empowered self at Boss Leap. Join Dr. Sylvia Morris and Dr. Angela Walker in this empowering community where real-life stories of courageous and talented women inspire and motivate. Engage in honest conversations that foster well-being, drawing from our own journeys. Let us guide you toward profound growth and transformation in both your personal and professional life. Here are your hosts, Dr. Sylvia Morris and Dr. Angela Walker.
Welcome back to Boss Leap. I'm your host, Dr. Sylvia Morris, and I'm here with my wonderful co-host, Dr. Angela Walker. Today, we're talking with Jill Carter, founder of Fly Mommy Chronicles. What started as childhood summer trips with her mom has become a thriving travel business that's redefining family, couples, and solo adventures. Along with her husband and daughter, Jill has turned her passion into travel into a platform that helps women and men collect memories over things, leading group travels to destinations like Italy, Thailand, and South Africa. Today, we're diving into how she made the leap from attorney to travel enthusiast to travel entrepreneur. Let's take off with Jill Carter.
Sylvia, that was an amazing interview. I loved everything. Obviously, both of us being travel, I'm not going to say I'm an aficionado, but just lovers of travel and somewhat experienced, travelers in terms of,
You got some stamps in the passport.
Yeah. So tell our audience how you got the travel bug.
Oh, man. My mom and I, so I'm from Los Angeles, as is Jill, and we would do driving trips in the summer. My mom was an educator as well, and we would get in the Oldsmobile and we would drive up Pacific Coast Highway. And one trip in particular, I remember we went to Solvang, and they have all of these windmills. It's like the Scandinavian kind of town on the Pacific coast. And on that same trip, we went to see Hearst Castle, which was just mind blowing for me. But I remember being able to drive, and we would stop and eat at like little cafes, and we would stay at motels, MOTELs.
Yes.
But I love. So where does your travel bug come from?
I reflect back. I think we all, including Jill, our interviewee, have the same thing in common. My mother was an educator, and so had her summers off. And so I do have some remembrance of traveling with my parents. We lived in Northern California when I was younger. We went to Reno, Nevada. I remember the snow, my purple coat. I remember the redwood forest and driving through the tree. So I have those memories. But then when I got, into school, elementary school and beyond, it was pretty much the summertime, and we would drive. And so it was just kind of your, Route 6 American trip, but it was just me and my mother because my dad was still working in Texas, and we would drive up to Pennsylvania. I remember driving through the Blue Ridge Mountains.
Oh, that's pretty.
And I just remember loving all the scenery and the changes. I don't know that was necessarily that cultural, but
different parts of the country. Yes.
Yeah. And so we didn't travel. As I reflect back, we didn't travel outside the US when I was young, and really Yeah. My beach, experience was Atlantic City. And I think I mentioned this, and Galveston. And so I'm to those people that loved, Atlantic City back then, I loved it. I thought it was wonderful, but having been to many different beaches now, I like warmer water and clearer water. But yeah, I think ultimately what I was getting at is, now that I reflect, my dad has since passed, but I look at his pictures, and he was in the Air Force, but he has so many pictures, places around the world. He was also a photographer, amateur. And so I think a lot of my love for just traveling around the world comes from him. and hearing about the places he had been to. He was a history major and just, all of that. Yeah.
That's beautiful. I'm sure your dad is quite pleased with you saying that. That's fantastic.
Yeah. So I am so excited to share this episode with our audience, just because I think listeners will hear some of the things that, even opened our eyes to the thoughts of traveling, whether it's solo or with family or with a group, and actually give maybe some access to planning those things.
Absolutely. So the next voice you will hear is Jill Carter of Fly Mommy Chronicles. We are here today with Jill Carter of Fly Mommy Travel. Welcome to Boss Sleep, Jill.
Thank you. I'm really happy to be here.
And we know that you are a busy mom, a family woman, an attorney, and then now we hear all about Fly Mommy Chronicles. Is that the name of your company?
It is.
We would just love to take a moment and tell us how you decided to launch into this part of your life and your career. What was the catalyst that made you think the world needs this?
Well, Fly Mommy Chronicles started off as a blog. So it was just a way for me to kind of capture and share some of my travels as a mom, sharing my travels with my daughters, and then ultimately as a mom, realizing the importance of my travels without my daughters. So really just sharing that and in blog form. And over time, that evolved into Fly Mommy Travels, which is the travel business side.
Got it. Okay, got it. Okay. And how long have you done the blog?
I started the blog in 2017.
Wow.
Okay. So through the pandemic.
Yeah. Before, during, and after. Yes.
Yes. That's a journey.
So tell us what's your first travel memory? I think you're a Los Angelina, but also grew up in St. Louis. Tell us about your early travel memories.
I would say my earliest travel memories were traveling in the summers. So my mom was a teacher and we would have like big plans for those summer trips. And that was kind of like the main thing that I would look forward to all year. Also, as you said, growing up in St. Louis, my parents weren't together. So my dad lived here in LA and my mom and I lived in St. Louis. So I would look forward to visiting my dad a couple times a year. And living in St. Louis and getting to come to LA twice a year, I felt like,
that's a big deal.
super special, yeah. So.
Oh, that's awesome. So it sounds like you somewhat caught the travel bug, maybe from your parents in a sense.
Yeah.
Can you share with us your earliest travel memory and maybe how it shaped the way you see the world today?
I think, that's a good question. I would say coming to LA, that's kind of like my earliest memories of traveling. And growing up in St. Louis, where it's very like black and white, literally like black people, white people.
North side of town versus south side. Yes.
Exactly. Or I should definitely clarify when I was growing up. So back then it was very black and white.
That wasn't that long ago, Jill.
Well, I mean, it was like 10
just 10 years ago.
Just 10 years. But coming to LA, where there was just so much more diversity, was an interesting experience as a child to just see that the world is so much bigger than this, small-ish city that I grew up in. And so I think that diversity and just seeing more regularly kind of encouraged my love of culture and of travel and just experiencing different things.
Yeah, I can relate to the experience of traveling somewhere else and just with the diversity. And so I grew up I actually lived in Northern California for just a brief period of time, but pretty much my formative years were in Texas. And, Texas thinks it's a country in and of itself. And so traveling and going to school in DC and just being immersed with all the different cultures, it just opens your eyes. And so I do think, that's one of the favorite things about travel for me is just the learning the different cultures, diversity, and I think gaining a respect for where other people come from.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Definitely my experience too.
Okay.
And you started Fly Mommy Chronicles in 2017, which is before the pandemic. Can you talk about how the pandemic certainly impacted traveling for you? And are there any sort of good things that came out of the pandemic for travel?
For me, well, the pandemic was very interesting for me because I did my first group trip in February, late February of 2020. And
oh, wow. You barely got in and out.
Barely. And we didn't.
Where was
did
that?
You go? Yes.
We went to Cartagena, Colombia.
Oh, Colombia. Okay.
And so we didn't even realize that the pandemic was upon us or what that meant.
Nobody did.
Yeah.
I mean, literally, we were flying there. And while we were there, I remember getting calls or texts from friends like, are you guys okay? Like, have you heard what's going on? And I'm like, what are you talking about? You know, this is my first trip. I have 25 women in Colombia. I'm just like, leave, I'll deal with that later.
Yes.
I do remember, though, when we were flying back, other people on the trip had kind of heard things. And so we were thinking about, well, do we need to find masks? How do we fly back home? What does this look like? So
wow.
It didn't really impact my trip drastically, that first trip. But when I got back, like 8 days later, we went into lockdown.
And so, oh my goodness.
That was, I mean, first of all, it was just gratefulness. We were all so grateful that we were able
to be lucky than good.
Yes, to get that trip in before everything was locked down. So that was great. But I was just like, what happens to my business now? Like everything was so uncertain. Travel just seemed to be over.
Yeah.
But I think over time, it was just a really good time for me to like think about what I wanted my business to look like when the world returned to its new normal. It gave me time to kind of plot and plan and strategize and that kind of thing and figure out how I wanted to emerge from that. And then after, I think people just really grasp the concept of how fleeting time is and that every moment is a blessing. You know, so many people lost people during that time. So I think we all kind of came out of it with a renewed energy to travel and see the world and do new things. So I think it was really a boom. I know it was a huge boom to the travel industry.
Oh, wow. That's amazing. What a wonderful story, though, to be able to savor those moments. 10 days later, 8 days later, to know the experience that you had that you may not have had, and then to be able to build on that and have the time to kind of formulate what you want to do next while we're in lockdown. So I don't know if that happens to be your biggest Boss Leap moment, but I'm curious what you can, and here on Boss Leap, we just kind of consider you're making leaps throughout life, from maybe one lily pad to the next to get to, this destination, maybe where you are now, but even to greater heights. But what do you think is your biggest Boss Leap moment? Maybe a decision that felt scary, but actually transformed your business.
Okay. Well, I'd say, like I said, initially it started off, Fly Mommy Chronicles was a blog. So I was just sharing travel that I was doing, giving tips. These are the top 3 things to do in Mexico City, or 5 experiences with your kids for spring break, things like that. And so I think my biggest boss leap was making the decision to go from just taking my own trips that I planned and curate for myself and my family and my friends, and turning it into a business that other people, albeit women that I knew and women that I had never met, could travel with me and enjoy that experience. I will say it really kind of started from taking trips with friends, and I was always the one who planned what we're going to do, where we're going to stay. Here's the flight.
You're the one.
I was the one. So
we need people. Yes.
The planner in the group. And so, and really the planner as it relates to travel, not life in general.
Sure.
But so the travel planner in the group, and that kind of turned into like other people would see stuff that I would post or share and say, "Oh, when are you going somewhere? I want to go." And so it just kind of evolved.
Nice.
And so I would say that was definitely the biggest boss leap, turning my passion into my business or my purpose.
Yes.
So just kind of along those lines, so your first trip was 25 women. How do you decide who can go? Because and this is not an elegant way to ask this question, but we know that we can't always travel with everyone, or perhaps I'm speaking for myself. And is there like a screening process to get an inkling on how people like to travel and there'll be a good fit for Fly Mommy travel? Or how do you do that?
I'd say that I've really kind of kept a tight rein on the people that I share my travel experiences with.
Okay.
It has not just been like a free for all, like, oh, go here and sign up and show up and here's details and that.
And like, tell us why you do that.
A lot of the people who travel with me are just busy, professional women. And even though it's Fly Mommy Travels, Fly Mommy Chronicles, it's like I said, it started from me just sharing my experiences as a mom who loves to travel. But as it's evolved into a travel business, it is not just for moms. It is for, women. I do trips for men. And so even though the name is still Fly Mommy, it's important that I, take a moment and explain, like, these are women, whether they're moms or aunties or, working hard and that's their baby, or, whatever the situation or the circumstances. It's busy women who want to have a good time and let their hair down, and they want to do it in a space that is comfortable, that is safe, with like-minded people.
Like-minded people, yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's the most important part, So I just try to kind of make sure that I am curating groups that are like-minded, at the end of the day, as much as possible. You can't control or know everything. You don't know how someone's going to act like 8 days into a trip sometimes.
Sure.
30 hours into travel and lose their luggage. Like, you just don't know what wild cards might present themselves. But for the most part, I'd like to say that I have kind of kept a hand on who's traveling and that kind of thing.
Certainly on the other end of group travel is solo travel. And Tracy Ellis Ross has that fantastic show on Roku called Solo Traveling. Can you kind of talk about the trend with solo traveling, and then also some of the trips that you've taken and why it's important for even you as a wife and mom to have that occasional solo trip?
Yeah, I personally love solo travel. For me, and I think it traces back to being an only child, I just love those moments of solitude. Yeah. And just being able to do what I want to do without having to take into consideration what the next person wants to do or where they want to stay or where they want to eat. So I love Tracy Ellis Ross's new show, and I just wish there were more episodes.
Yes. I thought I heard that there's a new season.
Oh, good. That's great. So I think that, like, I've heard so many women say, I'm afraid, I don't know if it's safe. And one of the questions, yes, I've heard that so much. And
sorry, I solo travel all the time, so let me allow you to do what you do.
Well, one of the things I always ask is, do you ever travel for work? And most people do. And it's really not different from that. Unless some trips are work group trips, but a lot of us travel just individually for work, and we go off, we stay by ourselves, we eat by ourselves, we find things to do by ourselves, and it's the same thing. And solo travel doesn't have to be international. And yes, there are
but it's nice if it is.
Personally, yeah, exactly. But it can be anything. It can be a staycation. Start with something local, or regional or whatever. But I just think that solo travel is a great way to get in touch with yourself, what you like, and just really tap into yourself. So,
got it.
yeah.
On the 180 on that, there's a group of us from med school. We've taken girls trips now for the last 20 plus years, minus the pandemic, and we've got some great destinations. But curious what your take is on ideal destinations for girls trips, both domestic and international, and maybe what makes them stand out. If you want to give a couple of.
Sure. I love city trips. So if it's a local city, if it's small city, big city, I just like city things to do. So I'm never going to be the one who's like, oh, let's go to the mountains, or not even really the beach. It's just not my personal scene.
Okay.
I know, and that's where I lose.
Yeah, that's because you're in LA and you have it right there.
That's probably part of it. And that's where I lose everybody, when I'm like, I could do without the beach. But I love, let's see, domestically, I think New Orleans is a fun girls trip.
That's a good one.
I think a recipe for a good girls trip is good food. Options for nightlife, if you want to have a nightlife experience, options for relaxation, luxury, cocktails.
More.
Cocktails. Yeah. Okay.
You're speaking our language.
Yeah. And I think, so I said New Orleans. I think New York is a fun trip. I mean, there I am with the city.
Yeah.
But Harlem, you've got theater, you've got culture, you've got good food all over, multiple ways to get around. I think going to the city is fun. If you're going to do international, one of the places that I absolutely love is Mexico City.
I haven't been yet. Because, not that we can talk about safety in the United States, but there's always like this overhang of safety, and forgive my American myopic view, but help us understand why Mexico City.
I just think Mexico City is so different from how most of us are used to doing Mexico. We're used to beaches and, Mexican food and traditional Mexican food and, just pure relaxation. And I think Mexico City, which is the same size as New York City, is just a big metropolis, and it's just full of things to do. It is a foodie hotspot. There's all kinds of amazing types of cuisine. So it's not just traditional Mexican food. There's just so much to do. And it's such a fun place. It's very, there's a lot of different neighborhoods. And so each of them is just fun, vibrant, and they kind of bring their own flavor and different things that you can explore and experience. So I think Mexico City should be on every girl trip list.
Walkable city like New York?
Walkable city, super cheap Ubers. I have not ever felt unsafe there.
Okay.
I'm not just walking anywhere, but the areas that I've gone to, I have felt perfectly comfortable and safe.
Okay.
You have opened my eyes, and it's been on my list, but I hadn't figured out how I was going to get there. And you hear about the Condesa and all of the things. So thank you. Do you have a dream destination that you are looking forward to going to, either solo or with your husband or with a family? What are your dream trips?
You know what? This summer, so one of the things that I introduced in my business a couple years ago was family group trips. So the first trip that I did was mothers and children, mothers, mommy and me.
Nice.
And we did with a day trip to London. This past summer, or a couple months ago, it was a great trip. That was a really, really great trip. This summer we did Marrakesh and Lisbon.
Oh,
that was
nice.
But next summer we're doing Tokyo. And I've not been there. My husband, my kids have not been there. And people that I've been talking to about it are just really, really excited. I think it's, anime and just all the different things that kids are in. So I think it's just kind of on everybody's radar right now. So I'm looking really forward to that trip.
So I'm curious, in terms of your business, so you've done these trips yourself. Do you curate any of the trips for like a family group that just wants to go? And so you're not necessarily with that group, or is it all together?
I do. So I have done that in many different ways. I have done it where I will curate a trip and I will go and host it for a group. But mostly I curate it for other groups or individuals, and they go and I just put it together. So I do that. Mostly it happens with groups, but I do it for couples or like for a family or even for solo travelers.
Okay. Good to know. Learning a lot. If you could go back, maybe to your earlier entrepreneur self, give us one piece of advice about like building your brand in this travel space that you think would have been helpful to you and maybe helpful to that person that is doing the same thing.
I hear a lot of, I don't know if it's like, audios that you hear on Instagram or whatever, or just people posting about this concept, but just create the content and put it out there. I wish that I had been more consistent with that. I wish that I mean, I have like a love-hate relationship with social media. And
don't we all?
I see some people who are so consistent. My really good friends, like super consistent, but I just cannot do it to save my life. And if I were talking to my early entrepreneur self, I would say just do it and stick with it. Do longer videos for YouTube, do all the things. So that would be my biggest advice.
Just do one thing. Yeah, let's not do all the things. Can we just do one thing? And when you say consistent, maybe once a week or old photos. One of my favorite things to say is let's not let the perfect be the enemy of the good. But your website is gorgeous. Kind of lightening the mood a little bit. What does fun look like for you when you're traveling?
Going back to cities, I'm the person who is going to have like 32,000 steps at the end of a fun. So I want to walk all the places, and my friends and the people who've traveled with me on groups and my family, especially, I won't even tell you, get into this summer and the tricks that I pulled on my kids to make them walk thousands.
Just a few more blocks. Yeah, that would get old.
2 more minutes.
Right there.
But, I feel like the best way that you get to know a city is on foot. You can see from a car or a bus or a tram or whatever, but just getting around and walking, you get to have those conversations, you get to stop and look and hear and just experience more of the city, I think, in a more authentic way. So it looks like stopping at a cute little cafe. For me, it looks like finding a bookstore. I love bookstores wherever I travel. It's just like, the things that I like are not like rah-rah, super exciting fun, but they are just a way to immerse myself in a local culture and local, whatever I can kind of get my hands on.
So how do you deal with, especially with groups, I'm curious, and I learned this with a travel group not too long ago, but the girls trip is so much easier. We've been together for, 30 years, so we know each other and it's all just so easy. And of course, I'm not the planner. I just show up. So I'm the shower upper.
But what's important is that Angela says yes. She's like, okay. And she hands over her money. That's all we need, right?
That's it. Angela's a perfect traveler.
I am. But what I learned traveling with another group, lovely people, but kind of people had their own ideas of what they'd like to do on a trip. And I'm somewhere completely different. I want to learn the culture. I want to walk and see especially if it's, in Europe, some of the old architecture and things like that. And then there are people that really love to shop. And for me, I'm like, I didn't even fathom that as being part of the equation. But when you're in a group, you compromise and things like that. But do people have options on the group trip, especially like the group of 25, to do different things? Or do you kind of just say, okay, we're going to do what you want to do, but we're going to do it at this time, and everybody kind of does together?
I think one of the most important things on curating a successful group trip is building in enough time for people to do their own things. So if
free time.
My idea of, free time, it almost, I'm not going to say it's a 50-50. I won't try to break it down, but I just think, you've got to have a significant amount of free time, because some people want to just go to the spa or lie by the pool, and somebody else might want to go on a tour, go to a museum, or go shopping or eat or go on a food tour. So there just has to be a good amount of downtime built in so people can feel like they get to experience that place the way they like to experience it.
Very good.
Yeah. I went on a group trip, and it was a hiking, walking trip. And I'm not really a hiker. I'm a city girl like you, Jill, but I wanted to be outside, and we're walking, in these beautiful environments. And we would get to a hill in their mind, but it looked like a steep incline to me. And I was like, no, thank you. I'm going to go get in the van. Right. And what they said to me is, well, this is your vacation. I was like, you're skipping, you're absolutely right. It is my vacation. And that's how I chose to spend my vacation. So we appreciate the downtime, as you so beautifully put it. Certainly you are an attorney. You have Fly Mommy Travels. You're a mom, a wife. What does self-care look like for you? And then when you're on doing a trip, how do you get in your self-care when you're leading a trip?
I think that is such a great question about the group trip, but I'll answer the general part first. So for me, going back to the only child thing and just my love of solitude, for me, it's just taking moments to myself. That is the best way for me to recharge, because my work, as a mom, as a wife, it's always considering other people and factoring them in, weighing them. And so I feel like the best way that I recharge is by just taking moments to myself. And my husband and I are really good about, like on weekends, like I'll say, okay, I'm going to go do this. And that might be a bookstore, it might be a cafe for me. For him, it might be a long run or something like that. But we're just good at giving each other space to, where, okay, I'll take the kids and I'll do this, or he'll take them and they'll do whatever. So those moments to just do what I want to do, kind of like a solo trip, but on a smaller scale, those moments are really important. And it's the same thing on a group trip. I just need to be able to step away for moments. And part of the downtime is, it's my downtime also. So I will do the things that I want to do. Now, I normally, if I plan something that I want to go see or go and do, I will open it up to people. But sometimes there's just moments that I want to do my own thing, and I completely reserve the right to do that.
Good for you. Love that. Yeah.
And Jill, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
We do some rapid fire questions.
Okay.
And just off top of your dome, aisle or window?
Window every time.
Must have travel snack.
Almonds.
Almonds. All right.
One item you never travel without.
Chargers.
I can forget those.
Carry-on or backpack? Or excuse me, a check bag.
Both.
Yeah, how about that?
Yeah. I have not evolved into just the carry-on girl, so both.
Okay.
We have to look like this. So how do we do that in a carry-on? I don't understand that, but okay.
I don't understand it either. I do know some people who do it very well, but I just haven't reached that level, and I'm not trying.
I don't
not
aspire
trying
to do that. Yeah.
Yeah, that no longer equates to vacation.
It doesn't. And you know what, Tracy?
Or relaxation.
She really helped me to
I saw
feel better
that.
about
She's
myself.
got all her things
All her
laid out and she's
All
spraying
of it.
and masking. And I'm like, girl, putting her socks on. I love it.
Yep.
Love it. Here for it. All right, last one. How about your favorite airport lounge?
South Korea.
Really?
Oh, tell us about it,
Like
real quick.
Seoul or what? Tell us. Yeah, all the details.
Food, robots serving, picking up, cleaning, taking your cups away. Just luxury
Experience. Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. Well, we know you are a busy professional mother, businesswoman, entrepreneur, and we cannot thank you enough for spending this time with us and primarily our audience, just giving more information about your business, and would love for you to share where people can reach you, and if you have anything else that you'd like to share with our audience so they know all about you and what's coming and all the good things.
Well, they can go to my website, which is www.flymommychronicles.com, or the same name on Instagram @FlyMommyChronicles. 2026 is a really exciting year for Fly Mommy Travels. We are doing Panama City in January.
Oh, wow.
We're doing Bali in April.
Oh, nice.
We are doing I mentioned the family trip to Tokyo in July.
Yes.
And the trip I'm super excited about is, I'm kind of cheating calling it a Mediterranean getaway, but we're doing a trip in October to Florence, Barcelona, and Monaco.
Wow.
And so I'm really excited about that. Even though Florence is not technically Mediterranean, but
it's close. It's beautiful. I've been, oh my goodness.
Wow.
So
I am, dreaming in my head right now. Yes, absolutely.
Absolutely love it.
What a wonderful, wonderful career that you have. So we're super excited for you. So excited for me to meet you, and wish you all the best with this Fly Mommy travel and all the wonderful things you're doing. And we hope that if you have people in your life, through our audience, that would like to travel, learn to travel, appreciate travel, that you would go to Jill Carter's website, and everything will be in our show notes for you to access. And until we meet again, may you be well.
Thank you. And thank you so much for having me. It was a great experience talking with you ladies today. And I hope to see you in 2026 in person.
You've got good stuff.
Absolutely.
You just probably will.
Angela, that was a fantastic conversation with Jill Carter of Fly Mommy Chronicles and Fly Mommy Travels. It just made me want to go and travel. Let me get to
Buy
the
my
airport.
ticket now.
Exactly.
Yes.
I got my passport. I am ready. Jill talked about a lot of things, just bread and butter things when it comes to travel. What are you left with from our conversation?
It's interesting because she talked about, we kind of both drew back when she mentioned picking a city versus a beach destination, and we're both beach girls. And I remember traveling together, and certainly, although with our girls' trips, I am just the person that comes and participates and pays my money. Traveling with my family, I'm usually the one curating.
Integral member of the group.
But I'm usually the one curating the trip. So I usually choose destination, and it usually is warm water and beach. They haven't all been, but the thought of, integrating city, and particularly or city destinations, particularly with groups, and to experience those things, I have become more open. And so I agreed with that, because there's still, so much obviously in the world to experience, but city vacations do offer a lot more things to do. And cultural things that you can do, and then even options for people if they want to do different things. So I thought okay, I'm going to be more open when we're talking about our next girls trip destination when we're together. And actually
Mexico
this year,
City, here we come. That's what I'm hearing.
That sounded good. That sounded good. And then I liked the fact that she emphasized the fact that even though she curates the trips, she's the curator on the trip, she still uses the downtime that she works in for herself. And I think that as a traveling group of girls, we've always had some downtime. And so whether you're taking a nap or sitting by the pool or whatever.
Thank you, Jessica, for nap time.
Yeah. Then, it's important that people are not always like, boom, 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 we have to be here, here, here. So I was agreeing with that. But yeah, so many of the destinations she mentioned, I can't say that I was salivating because it's not really the proper term, but I was just dreaming about all these places. So it was nice to be able to dream. How about you?
Absolutely. Well, first I need to tell you about my dress.
Yes, I meant to ask. Yes, tell us where it's from.
So this dress is from Accra, Ghana. And we were in a little market and I saw the print and I thought, oh, this is a dress for me.
So just the fabric?
The actual dress, the sleeve and all, the full-on dress. It stops a little bit above the knee. It is forgiving. So if you are eating, as I am known to do on holiday, it doesn't show anything, hides all my unmentionables, and it's got pockets.
Pockets, yes. That's criteria for a dress these days.
A pocket, absolutely. Yes. But in our conversation with Jill, she reminded me of sort of solo travel. And I'm a huge proponent of solo travel. Yes. Most recently, for my birthday, I had the best of both worlds. So the first couple days, I was with some other friends of mine, and we had a really great time, and we ate and we walked.
And where'd you go?
Lots of things. We were in the San Diego area, we'll say. And then the second half of the week, I was solo, so I could get up and do exactly what I wanted to do, when I wanted to do it, how I wanted to do it. And that for me is the beauty of solo travel. But we, as a group, there's 5 of us. We've been going on girls' trips for almost 25 years now. What do you think is the success behind our girls' trips? We've never had a falling out. No. We always come back tighter than before, and we always have fun.
Such a good time.
How do we do that?
So many, I think, ingredients here. One is we're somewhat like-minded in terms of we are supportive of each other. I think overall, I'd say kind people to each other.
We are.
We respect that not everybody wants to do the same thing, but we're up for the new adventure always. And I think some of the ingredients that she mentioned were foodies. Everybody loves to have good food, and that's our trip always revolves around good restaurants. She mentioned the option of nightlife. I can't remember way back. Some dancing. Some dancing. Not so much anymore, but some options of things to do. Relaxation. There's always usually some type of spa activity involved, or sitting by the pool, that sort of thing. She mentioned cocktails, and we have a few of those. But I think overall, it's just being open to other people's ideas of what they'd like to do. Planning is helpful. So we have always been intentional about planning for the event or the destination before we've left the last one. That's and crucial. So with that, a lot of questions have come up, for example, for our trip this year. People will throw out, how about this? How about that? So everybody's kind of has buy-in. And of course, I'm always like, sure.
We love that.
But you kind of have an idea. So there are no surprises. And, I have to, at the end, have to say, especially if people are considering traveling together, like, no budgets and what you are able to spend and what you're not.
And be flexible about the budget. Every year we don't kind of break the bank. Some years it's like, okay, well, we're going to have to scale back on our hotel. But yes.
Yeah. How about you? What do you think has worked?
I think we're just really blessed that we started traveling, and the most important thing was for us to be together and to
Yes.
reconnect.
Yeah.
And it also helps that we like similar levels of luxury.
Yes. Some
I
more than
might
others, but
not, yes, I might not do well. I'm going to speak for myself. If I had a lower star hotel, not that there's anything wrong with that, but I
Yeah.
really like a nice hotel and I really like service. And again, this is an opportunity for us to thank Jamie Balk of
Yes.
Pro Travel. Jamie has been with us every step of the way, and she makes certain that we get 5-star service everywhere. I'm sure she calls ahead and lets them know that we're coming and need the bottle of wine and all of the things.
Yeah.
But I think the most important thing about the girls' trips is that we're together and we get to check in. And I feel so grateful that we are able to travel together and that we are intentional about it year after year after year.
I agree. And I think the intention, that's the part that, and it sounds like with, Fly Mommy Travels, that Jill is incorporating that into her curated trips in terms of the intention of what, people want in a trip. And then therefore it's easier to kind of navigate who's going to be traveling with you or in that group together. So excited to see what that brings, continues to bring for her and potentially, for us. So yeah, I'm grateful for my travel buddy and buddies, and grateful that, we have the opportunity to do so. And feel very blessed to have been able to travel as much, but I definitely have a lot more on my list to do.
A list, absolutely. So for all of our listeners, we want people in our audience to make sure that you visit Jill Carter's website at flymommychronicles.com. Please look out for all of the adventures from Fly Mommy Travels and keep traveling. Travel with the people that you love. It may not need to be really far or international, but if you just want to be a tourist in your own town, travel.
That was good. Love it. Yes. And to all the listeners, hopefully you will share this episode with somebody that maybe you want to travel with or you want to encourage to travel. And we would love for you to like and listen and also subscribe on YouTube. You can reach us also at Boss Leap, that's LEAP, podcast.com on our website. You can access our episodes through that and all your streaming services. You can also leave us a message on our website. And certainly if you have ideas for future episodes that you'd like to see, please let us know. And until we meet again, may you be well.
May you be well.
That's a wrap on another episode of Boss Leap. May this conversation enlighten your path toward personal growth and professional empowerment. For more thought-provoking and eye-opening discussions like this one, head to our website at bossleappodcast.com. Always remember to celebrate your wins and trust yourself. A positive mindset can push you out of your comfort zone and into far greater heights. Until next time, may you be well.
Before we go, there's one more thing the lawyers have asked us to include. It's the legal language. And you know how doctors love lawyers. This podcast is presented only for educational and entertainment purposes. Although we are doctors, on this show, we are just your friends. This podcast is not intended as a substitute for the advice of your physician, professional coach, psychotherapist, or other qualified professionals. Understood? Awesome. We'll see you in the next episode.